Let us try a simple circuit which is having one forcible element or one source and then one load okay. Source may be anything. Source can supply voltage. Source may be in the form of voltage or current. Okay. But ultimately, whether it is voltage or current, the source must supply what is the source must drive the free charge present in the conductor, that is nothing but current. The source may be voltage or current, but the driving element is current, and its load is definitely load will consume power and the source will deliver power. Source always deliver power, always deliver power. Load consumes power. Load always consumes power. So we calculate deliver power in the form of P is equal to VI, and consumes power, this is also V load and current passing through that load, this is Vs and Is. Okay. Now we have one basic law which determines the relation between voltage and current. What is that law? It is called Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? We all know that definitely if you throw any object, for example this is surface of the earth and you are moving some object in this direction, so you are applying some force. Definitely this force decide the how long that body will be moved, how long and how much distance it will move, or simply due to this force only this object will get some velocity, right? That velocity will be proportional to this force. Why? If you apply more force, velocity will be more. If you apply less force, velocity will be less. So there is a proportionality relation between force and velocity. And definitely there will be some constant, right? Constant into velocity. What is this constant? If you observe clearly here, for some surfaces, say for example this is A surface. For A surface, that force equal to K into V, F1, V1, K1. For surface B, suppose that is something like this. So if you apply the same object here, if you apply the same force here, the velocity will be different from this. Why? The surface, the object moving, the road, simply we can consider the road or the path is different from this path. And if we have one more surface like water, and if we have object here, if you apply force now, the velocity that body get is something different from those two. right? So what is the main difference? To have object is same, the body is same in three cases, but surface is different, right? This is A surface and this is B surface and this is C surface. So what property determines the difference between these surfaces, these three surfaces? What is the property of that surface? The property of surface is simply the friction between this body and surface. So the friction will determine the friction is the responsible for the variation in this force and velocity for the same object. In a similar way, in electrical domain also, suppose if we have some conductor like this, okay, and you are applying some force. The force in electrical domain is voltage simply, and the velocity of the charge, the moving of the charge is nothing but current, right? Current. Here, the movement of the charge is varied with respect to what? The friction in the conductor. Simply, if we consider the previous case, the friction like property is the entertained element here for the same proportional property, that is called here the I is proportional to voltage. And what is that constant? That constant is, what is that constant? That constant is conductivity or simply conductance, that is reciprocal of the resistance here. Okay, this R is the property of that particular conductor which determines the relationship between this voltage and current. And this property or this theory is said in the form of a theorem or something like law. Theorem or law, Ohm's law. The Ohm determined this one. Ohm invented this law. Ohm proposed this law. That's why we call as in the name of that Ohm, we call this is Ohm's law. So in a formal definition, take the Ohm's law. At constant temperature, the current passing through a conductor is directly proportional to the voltage applied, or simply through a conductor means through an element also we can call. It is not necessarily a conductor, it may be an element also. And constant temperature is very, very important here. So what we said now, current is directly proportional to voltage, and this implies current equal to 1 by R V, and this implies V equal to IR, and this implies R equal to V by I. And what is this R? R is the property of the conductor. So we have to define the R now. What is R then? R equal to rho into L by A, where this rho is resistivity of the conductor, and L is length, A is area of cross section. The units for R is V by I. So we can call volt per amperes, or or ohms.